Hey guys, and welcome to Season 2 of Trial by Combat with me, NG Paradox, and my right-hand man, Midgeman.
Hello!
And today, for a new season, obviously, last time we played the King Challenge, the first to become King of the Iron Throne. Didn't go the way we planned. I ended up losing, of course. And this time, we've got a whole new challenge for you guys that we are calling the Kingsguard Challenge. Basically, this video is maybe only going to be 2 videos long, and they're probably going to be heavily edited. What we're going to be planning to do is that me and Midgeman, we're going to actually be drafting our own Kingsguard. We're going to choose our 7 people that we think are the best fighters in the whole of Westeros, and we're going to force them to duel to see which of our Kingsguards will come out on top. So to begin with, it'll just be a best of 7. So we'll have both teams fight off against each other one-on-one. Each person can fight once. Best out of 7 will win that. Then we're going to have a second round, which is actually a complete melee, where it's last man standing. Each of our warriors will keep fighting until the last one stands to decide who will be the true king, me or Midge. Now, to do the drafting, what we're going to be doing is going to have, like you would normally expect in the draft, one of us will choose the character first, the second person will then choose his character, then that person will choose another character, then it'll go back to the other person, they'll choose 2 characters, and the other person choose 2 characters. It's always the best way to do the draft, it's always fair. The first person who chooses gets an advantage, but then the second person gets to choose 2 characters. So it then balances itself out. So we're going to be choosing characters like this, so we don't know who each other has chosen. We have no idea who we're going to both be choosing. We both made a little list of about 15 characters that we really like. Maybe we put them in the order of what we're going to choose them in. I don't know what Midge has planned. And obviously, if we both choose a character, the other was going to choose the other person to choose a different character. We cannot have the same characters in our list. So even though we both might think this one character is the best fight in the whole of Westeros, we both can't have them. So it's first come, first serves. The only rule is that we were saying is that it must be a character that the people might meet. So if someone is like a king of Westeros, it's someone they may have met, or maybe through their time of traveling. So probably anyone in Westeros we can pick, or anyone in the Free Cities we can pick, because these are people they may have met. Beyond the Wall, we're saying, is out of bounds. No one would meet someone from Beyond the Wall unless they're Jon Snow, possibly. And the same with maybe like going too far east, like Yee. Also, we've said that these must be characters that we think are good from the books. So we're not choosing it based upon their stats in the game of the mod, because some characters might have certain stats that are different to what me and Midge might expect. So we're not choosing it based upon the mod. We both made a list of the characters we think are the best in the books, who we think are great fighters, and we want to see them on our Kingsguard. So because I lost last time, I will be choosing the first character, just to try and balance things out, because, you know, I'm obviously not as good as Midge at this game, so I need an advantage. Yes, Midge?
I'd say you're definitely my equal. I wouldn't say that I'm better. Not yet, anyway. A few more wins, and maybe we'll start saying
Well,
that.
hopefully I win this challenge. This will be a short challenge, guys, but we're hoping you'll enjoy it just as much. Tell us in the comments section, who do you think are the best fighters? And maybe tell us your own Kingsguard of who you would choose. It might be completely different to ours. But to begin with then, I guess I will start us off, Midge. You might...
Go for it.
I think this one's not that surprising. People might be surprised I'm going to choose this person first, but I really love this character. I don't like him as a person. I just think they're obviously a badass fighter. And if I had a Kingsguard, if this person was my friend, I think he'd kick ass. I'm choosing Midge. Victarion Greyjoy.
Oh, okay. I kind of thought you were going to go for a Greyjoy.
Well, out of all the Greyjoys, he's the only one I'd really rate to be on a Kingsguard.
Yeah.
I know in the game that Crow's Eye is pretty good, but in the books, I don't rate him that high. I think he's obviously a good fighter. Same with Balon, they're probably both really good fighters, but based upon the books, Victarion is just such a badass. I mean, Theon, I'd probably rate him higher than his father. He's a pretty badass fighter, but then again, in the books, you know, he kind of only uses his arrows and stuff, so for a Kingsguard, I'm not sure. So, for me, Victarion's going to be my first choice. I'm choosing him for my first choice. So, Midge, choose your choice then.
So I get 2 picks now, right?
Yes, but go in order. So choose your first one first, then choose your second one.
Okay, so my first one might actually surprise you as well. I'm picking Howland Reed.
I'm actually not surprised, because Howland Reed's on my list. Oh no, actually Howland Reed's not on my list. No, I was thinking about Howland Reed, but I kicked him off because for me, I've always liked Howland Reed, but I always feel like the story about what happened is kind of, is that what really happened? So I've always kind of made, maybe he's not as good a fighter as people say, so I don't rate him as highly as other people. I know a lot of people rate him really highly, the modders rate him really highly, but I actually kicked him off my list because I thought, you know what, I actually don't rate him that highly. I think like in the TV show they show.
Personally, all of the swamp people, the Cranogoman. I can't ever say what their
I think it's
their culture is, but their culture in the lore is a really hardy people. Like they're always defending their lands. They're always, so I always think, even though he might have not have been as great as everyone thinks, he's still got that backbone of being quite a strong and a good fighter in just from his nature and his nurture. So hey, I thought I'm gonna let the rumors go slide, and actually we get to see if he truly is a good fighter this time.
He's a good choice. I think he's definitely reasonable based upon what people talk about him. Also, you've also got the mystery of the Laughing Knight. Like, is it him? Is it Lyanna Stark? Obviously, most people I think it's Lyanna Stark, but you never know. It could have been him, maybe. Also, I will tell people actually right now, we are choosing the time period. We're choosing the day just after Robert Baratheon has died. So this is during, obviously, just before the Clash of Kings. The war's not started. We wanted to choose this scenario because it's characters then that we all know and love. So me and Midge are going to have a lot of characters to draw upon that we might like. In other time periods, it would be less. Also, all the characters are mostly alive, apart from Robert Baratheon, and Eddard Stark is in jail. So, but yeah. All right, Midge, your second choice then.
Yeah. I think this one's going to come as a surprise to anyone. This one is a fighter that is just loved by so many people. In the story, he doesn't necessarily do greatly, but I rate him as an unbelievable fighter, and I would want this man at my back any day. And that's the Red Viper over in Martell.
Ah, do you know what's funny? He's my third choice.
Yeah, this is one that I wanted to make sure I got because I knew he'd be on your list. He is just one of those people that you wouldn't want on the opposite side of you. Like, if this guy was coming at you with a spear, you would run. There's no doubt about it.
No, he's a really good choice. He was my third choice. And you know what? I just realized I actually completely forgot one person who's actually probably one of the best fighters. I've completely forgot to put on my list. I might have to put him in at some point if I think he would. But no, I really like that choice. That's the good. He was my number 3. So there.
Yeah.
We definitely were on the same wavelength there. Okay. Should I say my second choice then?
Yeah, go for your second.
Okay, this one I'm hoping might be a surprise to you. And it's funny you said the Red Viper. He's he's not that far from the Red Viper. Now, funny enough, we actually had a quick look at the beginning when we started the mod, and in this time period, he's not in the court he should be in. But I've actually gone for Ario Hota.
Oh, okay.
The bodyguard of Duran Martell. Yeah, we have to use the find character because he's not there.
Is he not just under Duran Martell?
He's still over in Norvos. But he should be over with him. I've actually chosen him.
How do you spell his name?
Areo Hotho. Htha. No. Tah. Sorry. Hota.
Okay, can you just put that in Discord so I can find it? Because
let me say again. Areo. Areo.
Yeah, got him. I've got it.
Okay, there you go. Now, in the game, he's not a formidable fighter. But he is strong and he is a skilled fighter. And in the books, I rate him highly. I think he'd be an absolute badass. So in the books, I rate him really highly.
Yeah.
Maybe not as high as the Red Viper, but you stole the Red Viper. But Ario Hota, I think in the books, I rate really highly. And he'd be like another big badass like Victarion. Sadly, in the game, they don't rate him as highly. But, that's what we're going. that's what we're gonna make do with.
Okay. Yeah. No. I think that's a solid choice. He's not on my list.
He's not on your list?
In fact, he's not on my list. No. Because I've you may be surprised that I've actually gone full Westeros with my list. I'm going true to. In fact, I almost could take my list out of 3 lands, bar like 3 people.
Well, I wasn't. I say I think he's maybe the only person who's not from Westeros on my list. But I thought, if I'm gonna put my best fighters, he'd be one of the best fighters in Westeros at the time, I would say. But okay, and I get my other choice, so I get my third choice now. I get 2 in a row now. So I'm gonna choose, and this one's hard. I'm gonna choose Jaime Lannister.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah,
could have seen that one coming.
Yeah, is he on your list? I suppose.
I think he's on everybody's list, isn't he?
Yeah, because this is before he gets his hand chopped off, so I feel like Jaime has to be on my list. I thought maybe you would choose him. I want to choose him quite highly. I was thinking about another character, but I thought you're probably more likely to choose this character quite early on, because he might have popped into your head more likely. I don't know.
I actually have already conceded the fact that I wasn't going to get Jaime. I thought you were going to pick him first, right off the bat. I thought, yeah, he is on my list, but I put him down as, oh my god, he hasn't picked him.
See,
so he was possibly going to be in my next set of picks, but no, he wasn't exactly high up. I'd kind of already come to terms with the fact that I lost Jaime Lannister.
See,
hell, I would have picked Jaime Lannister if he only had the one hand. He's still such a good fighter.
See, in my mind, I think he could beat Areo Hota. So I put them both together at the same time. But I actually think Victarion maybe could beat Jaime. But we don't know enough. Like, the books don't reveal enough to us to be able to know. But I think like Victarion's ferocity might put Jaime off, where kind of take him aback.
I actually think Jaime would be better against Victarion after losing his hand, because he would have had that training from a certain person to tell him to be a bit less noble in the fighting.
Well, I mean,
if he was still a very noble fighter and did it kind of chivalrously,
you're talking about the books,
I think he'd lose to Victarion.
TV show. Books is Ilan Payne who trains
TV show.
Him, remember? I'm thinking about the books. But that's fine.
I was using TV show knowledge there.
But I know what you mean. He has to be smarter with his one hand, so I can understand that. I don't know, though. I think Victarion would destroy him with one hand. Because, I'm not sure if you can think when you're fighting him, just because he's so, just stupid and just attacking. I don't know. I really like him. I think I think he could beat most people, but he could also die because he is stupid in some of his choices. But that's why I chose him first. But I like Areo Hota, and Jaime would be my next 2. So there we go. I guess it's now back to you.
Is this 1 pick for me or 2 for me?
2. You keep going 2 now. It's normally the draft works. Normally you have more people because there's only 2 of us. I guess we could go to 1. I guess it wouldn't make a difference. Yeah, go to 1 then. Make it funner, yeah.
Okay, let's go to 1.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Okay, I'm gonna think this person was on your list. I think this person was on your list, and that's why I'm gonna pick them next. But the maid, Brienne of Tarth, gotta be.
Brienne of Tarth, yeah. I mean, she should be on anyone's list, to be honest. She's actually quite far down on my list, though. She's number 8.
No, she is a little ways down on my list, but I've decided to boost her up. I was just doing some last minute thinking.
In the game, though, she's amazing. I think in real life she is amazing. It's just you gotta remember this, guys. People who are watching, the difference between these characters and what we're thinking is so small.
Oh yeah, it's because we're picking the best fighters in Westeros. Even if they're 10th, they could easily take down 10 men before even getting a scratch on them. Normally, they're in a battle. They are
Midge, let me tell
beyond the best fighters.
I think we both picked about 15 people just in case we both chose each other's ones. And my number 15, I know some people that argue he is the best fighter. So he's my number 15. So the difference between these people, we don't see enough of these characters. And also, fighting is a really weird thing. Anyone can win in a sword fight. Better skill means you have a more chance of surviving, but literally just hit them, they're dead. So, okay, a good choice. I think Brienne is probably what a lot of people. Some people might even say she's possibly one of the top ones. Definitely.
I would never actually call her the best fighter in Westeros.
Do you think she could beat Jaime with 2 hands?
I think she would struggle against Jaime.
Okay.
But I think she's a very decent fighter, and she's very perceptive in fights. And a lot of people underestimate her, obviously, because of her gender. So she uses that quite well to her, which makes her a better fighter than a lot of people. And she knows not to underestimate people. Whereas some of the best fighters, arguably, would be kind of they'd be cocky and probably lose to her. Jaime, however, I think after a couple of blows, probably would wise up and go, actually, I'm fighting someone pretty good here, and have to pull out all the stops.
Well, actually, that's why
I think Jaime would win.
a lot of people rate her quite highly is because of Jaime's reaction. Like, at the beginning, he's like, I can get away. And then, like, he kind of has trouble against her when he's, like, chained up and stuff. And, like, he starts in his head, when you're reading the book, he starts saying, like, I'm actually, okay. He starts noticing, like, you say the things, like, actually, she's really good. And you don't normally see Jaime admitting that to anyone. Or, like, admitting that about anyone.
Exactly.
Apart from, like, a few big people, because they've got a big physical mentality. So it's. I think she's obviously impressive. All right, my turn?
Yeah.
This one's a hard one, because I've got quite a few I rate about the same. But I'm going to choose this person. This will be my 4th person. Yeah. I'm going to choose him just because we actually don't see him fight at all. But what we're told, I then put him above some of the others based upon that. I'm choosing Garland Tyrell.
Oh, damn, he's on my list.
Garland the Gallant. Because the Knight of Flowers, I know
Garland the Gallant.
I know the Knight of Flowers doesn't always do the, he's obviously a great fighter. You can't say he's not. But they say Garland was better than the Knight of Flowers. So that means I've had to put him ahead of him, but then I've had to then try and think, is he better than the other characters? And I've kind of thought, you know what? If he's better than Knight of Flowers and the other people find it difficult against Knight of Flowers, if I think they'd find it difficult against him, I have to put him ahead of them, potentially. Luckily, the modders agree, so that's nice. It's a shame about Willis, because Willis is also meant to be a good fighter. But that's also why I put him, I put him below the Red Viper.
But he's a cripple at this point.
Yeah,
so.
Because of the Red Viper. That's why I put Garland behind the Red Viper and stuff, because I thought, you know what? They said the Red Viper beat Willis, so maybe Willis, I don't know. But I put Garland. I think that's an interesting one for me, because we don't see him ever fight, but just from what we've heard, it sounds like he should be really good. So I had to put him on my list. He's actually quite high. I'm surprised. I didn't think it'd be this high.
He's actually was going to be not my next pick, but the pick after. So he's quite close on my list as well. It's clear that we've both rated this guy pretty high.
Yeah, and also I think we were both trying to think of characters they might not choose. And that's...
I think that might have been the case.
I think Garland's one a lot of people forget. But I actually rate him really highly, potentially. That's the potential that we haven't seen him fight. And that's the interesting thing here. But yeah. Okay, back to you then.
Okay, this one is... This one I'm picking purely for my love of a certain offshoot of Game of Thrones, and this guy.
I know.
Although in the certain thing we actually never properly see him fight because he unfortunately gets wounded straight off.
Is it?
Do you know who it is?
Someone from the north.
It is someone from the north.
Do they have a certain special wood?
Yes.
Are they a forester?
I am picking Roderick Forrester.
Yeah, Roderick Forrester. Yeah. Okay.
Roderick Forrester, because he's always been said to have been a better fighter than his father. His father's a very decent fighter, and we do see that because it's the Telltale games, Game of Thrones. If anyone's wondering, he's a cracking character, but he gets crippled basically in the off. But that's at the Red Wedding, which hasn't happened yet. That's way into the Clash of Kings War, and we are, as we said, we are before then. So it's going back to when, and I think it's mentioned that he won a couple of what they called the northern the melees in northern tradition, whatever they called.
They definitely hype him up as having been a really good fighter, and like his father was meant to be a good fighter, as well. And Asher. I actually
Oh, Ash. I
I
have them both on my list.
See?
I will say that.
I just tell people, like, when we first were making lists, I said to Midge, I had like 20-something names. So I had to kick off like 10 people, and Roderick and Asher were on that list. So they both got kicked off. Because I was
they
like...
got kicked off?
Yeah, because I was like, they weren't in my top 15, because I was like, you know what? They're from the game, we don't really know as much about them, how they were before, and I didn't have much to compare them to. Like, at least with Garland, Tyrell, I could compare him to, like, the Knight of Flowers. With them, I was like, the uncertainty over the other characters I have, I'd rather choose the other characters.
Yeah, like, I originally had, like, I went in there looking for Asher, because I know Asher's a brilliant fighter, and I thought, actually, no, this is past. Roderick's a far better fighter. Asher's only just gotten to Essos as well. He hasn't had any of the training in the, what the pit's called. The
pit.
Why can't I think of the name of the... Are they like the fight pits in...
The fight pits, yeah.
Yeah. I thought they had a special name. I swear they did. But, like, he hasn't had any of the training and the hardening up there. So he actually fell off my list. He was on my list originally, but fell off. And Roderick took his place.
So it's a good choice. It's a good choice. I say they did pop into my head, but they didn't actually make it onto my list, sadly, for them. All right, my choice then?
Yep.
Okay, my next one is not going to be a surprise. Unlike Garland Tyrell, I don't think this one will be a surprise at all. I'm choosing... I feel... I don't... See, I don't want to choose the obvious characters sometimes, but this one I think I have to choose. I'm choosing Sander Clegane.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He had to be on the list somewhere. It's Sander. Like, when you compare him to a lot of people, you think, you know what, he is a good fighter. I do think he's better than his brother as a fight. Like,
So do I.
You know, the giant... The mountain that rides is amazing, like ridiculously strong, but as the Red Viper showed, a smart man can beat him. And even Bronze says, like, yeah, I could beat him, but there's a very good chance I could also die. Because, like, he is just one of those people, if you know what to do, if you're a great fighter, you can beat him, but if you just make one mistake, he can just kill you one hit. So that's the scary thing about the mountain. So I actually rate Sander more. He's next to my list, actually. He's very high, actually, on my list. So I've gone for Sander Clegane. Very simple choice. Everyone knows why. A lot of people rate him very highly. But yeah. Back to you then, I guess.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I completely agree that I think he's better than the Mountain as well. I think the Mountain obviously has that huge brute strength. And is a good fighter because of it. But, like, Sandor's, like, veterancy and not being almost always the underdog brother, I guess, has made him the better fighter, I'd say.
And next Midge will choose the mountain. Just to spite me. Now the mountain. Because I mentioned it. Okay, your turn.
No, he was on my list. Not that high up.
Your fifth
it is,
one.
However, I am picking someone very big.
Oh, I know. Is he in the north?
Oh, yes, he's in the north.
It's the Great John, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Okay. Yeah.
I am picking the Great John because yeah. I mean, I would rate him possibly not one of the most skillful fighters. Call him. I would not want to come up against him in a fight because he'd just probably like break through my block and carry on hitting me. Like,
yeah,
there's strength and then there's that strength. Like.
Well, Jamie,
it's one of those things.
Jamie literally, he's one of the people he thinks of when he thinks of just people with, unnatural size that could, probably cause him trouble. And Great John's one of the ones that pop up. So I think a lot of people like to mention him. They talk about the best fighters in Westeros. A lot of people do mention him on the internet because of that kind of suggestion. I actually also rate his son, Small John.
Yep. I'd agree.
And I will tell you, Great John was on my list. But he was quite low down. He was number 13 for me, my top 15. So he's quite low down, but because again, like I say, it's just really the talk that Jamie has him. So I was like, it's more about the size. I'm not sure how much I rate him compared to the other fighters. So he didn't come up high on my one in the end. But that's definitely a good choice. My turn?
What's your next choice then, NG?
Well, we both only have 2 choices left, so I'm really... I'm really hurting right now because there's some really good fighters left, and I'm trying to.
Oh yeah, there's so many good fighters left.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing.
And we only have 2 left. And I'm trying to think, the 5 I've got are pretty cool, actually. I think that would be a cool Kingsguard. But my number 6, I think, is going to surprise everyone. It's going to surprise everyone, I think. There's some other characters that I keep thinking, oh, I'd love to choose them, but maybe not over this person. I'm choosing Ares Oakhart.
Oh, okay. He's on my list.
Oh, really? You actually had him on your... I'm surprised. I didn't think anyone ever thinks about him when they think of, like, who to choose. Good fighters. I had to go and actually...
No, I really like him.
I need to find him now so I can show the people. Oh, there he is. Ares Oakhart. Yeah. What the... He's in Pentos right now. Why is he in Pentos?
Yeah.
What's going on in Pentos?
Isn't this the point where he's been sent off to investigate the possibility of there being Targaryens in the Free Cities?
It could be, but yeah, going back to why I chose, I chose Ares Oakhart because out of the Kingsguard, I actually rate him quite highly. I think obviously the sad thing for Ares Oakhart is he gets killed by Area Hota so easily, but also I think maybe he wanted to die. He knew that if because they've been found out, he was screwed. His whole life, his whole reputation was ruined, so he needed to die to sacrifice himself. So I think that's why Area Hota had such an easy job with him. But also Area Hota is just a ridiculously strong man. So I think against other people though he's meant to be pretty good. So I like Ares Oakhart. I really like him.
Yeah, he was like number 11 on my list.
Yeah, I don't know why. I always have a soft spot for him. And I always really like him when it comes to when I say, like, out of most of the Kingsguard, I think he beats most of them, apart from a couple. But yeah, and I'll pass it back to you then. You're number 6 then.
Right. Now. Do I... I'm, like, listening to your list, I'm slowly rethinking parts of mine is the thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think this one is gonna come as too much of a surprise. And I'm sticking with the Reach. And I'm picking the Knight of Flowers.
Do you know what's funny? That was my next choice.
Yep.
Yep, Knight of Flowers. Good choice.
Yeah, he's a decent fighter. He's very decent in joust and tournament fighting, but on a duel for blood or /death, I'm not sure actually. The reason he's this far down on my list, I'm not sure how well he'd do. He's a very showman fighter.
Yeah.
In brutal combat, I think this is why I think they say his brother's better, because his brother's more the militarist rather than the tournament fighter, I'd say. So I think that it's all a bit entertainment for him rather than actual martial ability. But he's still on my list because he is just revered as such a good tournament fighter. And on a one-on-one, that kind of does come into context. So I think it kind of had to be done.
Okay, no, I completely understand. No, he was my next choice. So if you hadn't chosen him, he would have been my 7th member. So I think that seems like a good choice to me. He's obviously good. I think a lot of people, they undervalue him when they make like a list of their good fighters because he doesn't seem to do very, he loses against Brienne and stuff. But these, like you say, are all show fights. They're not real to the death fights. And he's obviously very brave, and he's obviously very good at sparring. Okay.
Yeah.
My last choice then?
Yeah, let's hear your last choice.
Okay, I am stuck between 2 characters because I actually forgot a person. And I just remembered a minute ago. And I'm like, how did I forget to put down this person on my list? When I was making the list, I think I thought of this person very early on. I forgot to write their name down. So I'm now trying to think whether to choose that one or the other. I think I have to choose the one I forgot. I'm going to have to choose Barristan Selmy.
Solid choice, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
Barristan the Bold is
Do you know
Embarrassed
what?
on the board.
I completely forgot because I said Ares Oakheart and I clicked on the Kingsguard and I was like, oh, there's Barristan. Wait, why am I choosing Ares Oakheart over Barristan? Barristan should be... I'd put Barristan ahead of Ares Oakheart. He may be old, but I'd put him ahead of Ares Oakheart. Maybe not Sander because of the age. Sander could give him a good fight. But maybe... Actually, no, Barristan, actually, I'd probably put... He could probably beat Sander and Garland. He'd probably be behind Jamie, I'd say, just because of the old age.
I reckon he'd struggle against Garland in his current age.
I don't know. Because we don't know enough about Garland, I would put Barristan ahead of him.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
I rate him quite high. So I have to choose him as my number 7. He's just, he's just that perfect choice. I'm a bit sad because that means I've chosen 3 people from the Kingsguard. So it feels a bit obvious. But in the end, it just has to be. I have to say it from the heart. Like they're there for a reason, aren't they? They're there for a reason. And what we'll do afterwards, we'll go over the ones we missed out at when we're both finished as well, so the people know what other ones we were thinking of. Because my other ones I think are really fun characters, but I just can't think of the best fighters. You actually chose a lot of ones that I didn't, so I'm quite surprised. So I didn't get to choose some of my more fun ones, actually. But yeah, your last one.
My final choice, I guess. I'm actually also stuck between 2 people. And one we have mentioned, and the other we haven't. I'm going to go with the one we haven't. It's Baratheon.
Who? I didn't hear Midge.
Sorry, NG, you cut out there.
So I didn't hear what you said. You said Baratheon, and that's it.
Oh, I said... Okay, sorry. So, just to go over what I said, it's between 2 people for me, and one we've mentioned and one we haven't, and I'm going with the one we haven't. And I don't know why, but I'm going with Stannis Baratheon.
Interesting. Okay, why?
The reason I'm going for Stannis Baratheon is purely because it's down to lore, really, in this time period. This is the time where everything in the Baratheon line of things has gone wrong for him. He's got the most to lose. I think there would be that drive behind him. I wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of Stannis Baratheon in the year 8298. There's just something about him, and obviously we see it differently in the show. We see it, and it does unfold. But there's that ambition, there's that drive, and there's that almost vengefulness. And I wouldn't stand in the way of him. And he's also got that slight favor with a certain set of gods as well that I think would come in handy.
Okay, yeah. Actually, I would not have chosen Stannis at all, just because I don't think he's the best fighter. But
yeah,
actually,
he's my wild card pick.
Actually, in the game, he's actually pretty decent because he has got chosen by Rollo and stuff, and Lightbringer. They actually put up his stats by 30, so actually, he's pretty decent in the game at dueling. So he could probably kill a lot of these people as well. So that's actually quite surprising. Okay, interesting shot. He was not on my list at all.
I had him as with a question mark next to his name. I was thinking, do I go with it purely as a wild card because I think his mental state would be amazing in fights right now. I think there's I just summed it up to I don't think people would stand in his way at this point in time.
Okay, interesting choice. Okay, there you go, guys. That is both of our King's Guards. This video actually took a lot longer than I thought it would. So what we're going to do, we're going to have this video. Our next video will be the dueling. So what we're going to do for the next part is we'll have basically Midge will choose one of his characters. I'll choose one of my characters. We'll force them to fight. Once they're both finished, whoever wins that fight, neither of them can fight again. So the idea is the best of 7. After that, the video after that will be just a melee the last one standing. They'll keep all fighting until one team is alive. That will be the idea. And we'll see which of our teams comes out on top. Now, just before we go, though, I wouldn't mind us just throwing out some of the characters we also had on our lists. Just to give you guys an idea of some of the unusual or fun characters we also had, and obviously ones maybe you were thinking of. For example, my next choice, which I'm really sad I didn't get, was Bronn.
Yeah, same for me.
Yeah.
Actually,
he
is the next one on my list.
And that's the thing, I would have got him, but I forgot about Barris and Selmy. I was like, you know what? I'd probably choose Barris and Selmy over Bronn. Really. Bronn's really cool, but Barris and Selmy is just like, he's that sort of legendary fight. He's like the last legendary fighter of the age. So, I had to go for him in the end. But Bronn was actually my next choice. In the game, he's not that great. He's about as good as, like, Stannis. But, in the books, he is just a badass at dueling. So he was actually my next choice. What was one of your other choices, Midge?
Yeah. This is a little bit of an interesting out there one. This isn't necessarily my next choice. Because some of my choices we've already mentioned. For example, the Mountain. But this is one I kind of went, he's a reputation as quite a good fighter and a good military leader. One of those sort of... This was one of my characters that if you'd stolen all of mine from my list, I think I probably would have picked. And that's Biden, the Blackfish.
Yeah, I had Blackfish as one on my list as well. He was there.
Is he?
Yeah. I really want to choose him, but again, like, he's obviously old like Barris and Selmy. I rate Barris and Selmy above him. So...
Oh, Barristan Selmy is in a league of his own. Like,
yeah.
Especially with all of his deeds in the past, you know. But
Blackfish
yeah, no, I put the...
He was number 12 for me. He was pretty high up. I really rate him. In the game, actually, his old age affects him quite a bit in the game. If he wasn't old, he'd actually have a 90, which is not too bad. But yeah, I just... I really wanted to pick him. He was one of the fun ones I thought would be really good. One of my other ones, I actually...
Yeah,
One of my other ones is Godry the Giant Slayer. The Farron, Godry Farron.
Where is he on this?
Because if he did kill a giant, or he's rated very highly by Stannis and his men. He's obviously a good fighter. But he was kind of one of my like. We don't really know. We haven't seen him enough for me to really be sure about how I can rate him. So I was like, he's probably pretty good. But at least like I said with Garland, they compare him to the Knight of Flowers and stuff. In the game, he's rated really good. He's got 100 personal combat skill.
Where is he in this?
He's in Farron. He is if you go to Farron's father's brother's son, he's the cousin. So yeah, he's with Stannis actually as well right now. But I wanted to choose him. He was one of my fun ones. He was actually after Bronn, so he'd been number 10. I also had one of the Royces. Actually, no, I actually had... I had one of the Royces. I had Robo Royce. The one who was on...
Yep, I had a Royce on my my list.
He was on Renly's Rainbow Guard. So
yeah.
I really wanted to choose... He was actually the one I wanted the most to choose, apart from Bronn maybe. I want to choose Bronn and him. He was like after Bronn.
Yep, Robo's the one I had on my list as well.
So I was hoping you choose some of my characters. I could choose Robo Royce, because I think obviously he gets killed by the Knight of Flowers. But he's meant to be a really good fighter. The Royces in general are pretty good, so I wanted to have at least... I wanted to have one of them on the team. The one from the... I like the Rainbow Guard. The Rainbow Guard's pretty cool. I want to have one person from there on my list at least. Apart from Brienne and obviously the Knight of Flowers. He's the one I'd probably rate the most. But he dies because, he's not really trying to fight. And obviously the Knight of Flowers is in a rage. So I had him as one.
Yeah.
Any other interesting ones you had on your list? Obviously just quickly. You need to go quickly.
He's a little bit of an out there one. Randall Tarley.
Randall Tarley, yeah. No, I thought about him, but I wasn't sure. I rated him as a commander, less as a fighter.
Yeah, that's why he was number 15 on my list of 15. He was like, I know he's a military leader, but in this game he is strong and brave.
Yeah, he's really
so
good.
It does, and he does have Heartsbane, so it does actually in the game statistics put him up very, very high.
Yeah.
But I personally think he would lose out in combat to a lot of the people we've picked.
Yeah. My other ones...
In like a one-on-one duel.
My other ones then were just the Great John and the Small John and the Mountain. Those are
which I picked Great John, so...
Those are my other choices. I would have loved the idea if one of us chose Great John and Small John. But yeah, and I had the.
I am a little bit surprised that neither of us took the mountain.
Yeah, I'm really surprised.
But I think we've gone for more intelligent fighters than we have just brute force. I mean, I did go for Great John, so I can't really talk, but
yeah, I think we just want people who we rate, and like I say, like we can see some of these guys can beat the mountain, but the mountain probably, 6 times out of 10 would beat some of these people possibly, just because of his one-hit kill. Basically, he just needs to hit you with his weapon, and he can just slice you in half. That's the thing.
Well, yeah, he's one of those characters that he could probably drive your own sword into you, sort of thing, just because of the sheer force and weight of it.
Yeah. So he was on my list, but he just because you didn't choose enough of the characters that I chose, so he didn't actually get to sneak on there. Like I say, only a couple of my characters, like what was it? Yeah, only a couple of characters really snuck on there, like Barristan Selmy, Ares Oakcart snuck onto there as well, actually. So a few of mine did sneak onto there, but not the mountain. But yeah, but that just shows you guys there's so many good fights. It's so hard to choose. Like I say, this is what we've chosen. We'll see how it comes out. Tell us in the comment section, who would you have chosen? Who would be on your list? Is there any person we did not mention? There's quite a few. Like I had Archibald Bigman. I was looking at from the Ironwood family. I was looking at him at one point. I'm trying to think of any other ones I was looking at. I was looking at Archibald. I was looking at the Rainbow Guard, basically.
He didn't make my list, but another guy who I think is worth a mention is, in terms of game stats anyway, is Bryce Karen.
Yeah, Bryce Karen. Yeah, I was looking at the other Karen, the bastard Karen, Roland Storm.
Yep.
I was looking at him at one point, but I was like, you know what? He's a good fighter. Oh, Rolly Duck. I was looking at Rolly Duck as well.
Yep.
Rolly Duck just got cut from my list.
There's a lot of little sub characters that were like you kind of consider, but then you go, no, they're not, like they don't spring to mind unless you're looking.
Well, it's only a list of 15. Like it sounds like a lot, but there's so many good fights. I even looked at was it Mormont?
Jason Mallister of Seaguard as well.
The
Mormonts, even Jorah Mormont.
You got Daisy Mormont and Alison the She-Bear. I was looking at the Mormonts there because there's a couple of really good girl Mormonts. Jorah, the old bear. I'm surprised no one chose Jon Snow. We both obviously don't rate Jon Snow as much as other people do.
Well, I originally did, but this start date, he's still a child.
Oh, he's only 15.
He's 15. So he doesn't actually have any of his main modifiers, so to speak. So
Rob's terrible actually. He said he got 35.
Yeah, this is actually before they've before even the Craster's Keep stuff.
Yeah.
In terms of the book story lore. So I don't think John's even been in combat yet.
And just to let people know, we said no wildlings. Drogo is currently dead. This is even though Robert's just died. Even then, Drogo's already dead, so we couldn't choose him.
Yeah.
I could have chosen Jorah's son. Where is his son? Wait, he's not in the game. Wait, where is his son? He's not put as his son on the game. What? Wait, I'm gonna look.
It could be because we're using an unofficial start date.
Jorah. There he is, Jorah.
To be fair, I think they should make this a start date. The day of Robert Baratheon's death.
It's actually not that bad. I completely forgot, but then again, I don't think I'd put him higher than the others I've chosen. Yeah, I definitely put him higher than the others. I put him high, maybe with sort of the Bronn, or maybe sort of Bronn area, Robot Royce maybe.
I'm also surprised none of us picked Eddard Stark.
See, I don't rate him that high. I think he's a good fighter, but I don't think he's like I said. They're just there's such a small gap between these characters. It's so hard to say. Jaime would probably beat Eddard Stark, I think.
But
at least that's
Jaime is there is that whole conversation between Eddard and Jaime, isn't there, about the whole what's it called? The reason he doesn't take part in tournaments.
But that's what I think is that Eddard isn't actually one of the best fighters. That's why he doesn't want to show what he's got, because he wants to be able to surprise them. Because he's a smart man. So I think when he fights, he wants to be able to not have them know what he can do, because maybe he isn't one of the best fighters. If you're one of the best fighters, maybe you wouldn't care. So
he is quite a humble man, though. At the same time,
but I think that shows his seriousness. That's his. That's his, like he says. Yeah, I'm not going to show you because what happens if we get in a fight? It could be to the death. I'm not letting you get an advantage just because you've seen me fight. That's a silly reason to go to a tournament.
Yeah, and I think that's also because he knows how cunning Jamie is, and maybe he had there's a whiff that he still hates the Lannisters
and
because
no one chose Tyrion. But yes, we're gonna have to. We're gonna have to end it here. This video is gonna be an hour long, so we're gonna have to end this part here, folks. Guys, thank you for joining us. Hopefully, like I say, this is just a draft, so we're just looking into what we're gonna do next time we're back. Well, we'll do kind of one-on-one fights between the best of 7. One of us will choose one of our characters. The other person will choose one of his characters to face that character. We're going to have to try maybe think a bit tactically to think about who will face who. Because obviously, if I send out my best fighter first, will Midge send out his best fighter first? Or do we leave them both to the end, except, It could be interesting to see. It could be based upon who we choose first and second, etc. So yeah, guys, we'll see you then. Have a good one. And ta-ta.
Bye-bye.